to order. It's Thursday, January 9th, 2014. Any general business? Anyone cares to discuss or anything? Okay. We still got to wait another minute for our first hearing, which is going to be at 7:05. Watching paint dry. Okay, it being 7:05, the first hearing up for this evening is on the application of Konstantinos and Louisa Gurkos of 21 Sherwood Drive, Milford, for a special permit pursuant to Section 3.1.3 and/or 3.1.4 of the zoning bylaw in relation to property located at the northwesterly intersection of Spruce Street and School Street, known and numbered as 36 School Street. The special permit relief is sought in order to change the utilization of and allow renovations to a unit designated as Unit 4, formerly used as a restaurant, so that said unit may be used for a one-bedroom apartment. On the application, pursuant to what provisions of the zoning bylaws do you seek a special permit, and for what purposes? 3.1.3, extension of non-conforming use. 3.1.4, non-conforming use. 2.5, intensity of use schedule. And 3.4.6.3, parking requirement. Explain the reasons you assert that the special permit is sought in harmony with the general purpose intent of the zoning bylaw. The existing unit is part of a 4-unit condominium. The building is a prior non-conforming use and does not meet the requirements of either CB or RA zone for use as a two-family dwelling. The structure would be in harmony with the area, be less offensive, and not create a nuisance. The proposed use of the premises will not create undue traffic congestion or impair pedestrian safety. 3.4.3.6. The parking requirements in this bylaw shall not apply to the change of use in the non-conforming structure or to an addition to a non-conforming structure from which a special permit is issued. Less traffic would be created by the proposed use than the prior use. The proposed use of the premises will not cause harm to the neighborhood or create a nuisance or hazard affecting the health, safety, or general welfare of the public. The use as an apartment would be more in harmony with the use of the structures in the area and will not impair the health, safety, or general welfare of the public. Town planners report. Let's see, the planning board reviewed the petition listed above at the regularly scheduled meeting of January 7, 2014, and recommended the following: favorable. See town planner's letter. Dear Mr. Chairman, the applicant requests a ZBA special permit to convert the prior restaurant use in Unit 4 to a one-bedroom apartment on the subject property. Currently, the building is configured with one apartment on the second floor and one apartment and 2 commercial units on the first floor. The proposed conversion will retain the apartment on the second floor and provide 2 apartments and 1 remaining commercial unit on the first floor. The proposed residential unit will be less intense than the prior restaurant use and therefore less detrimental to the neighborhood. Therefore, I recommend a favorable report be reported to the Zoning Board of Appeals. There's also a letter from a Mr. Robert Clark, owner of the Tom Building, 89 Main Street, Milford, Mass. I just want to read it for the record. It says, Dear Chairman Consigli, I had planned to attend the January 9th ZBA meeting in order to speak in favor of the application of Konstantinos and Louisa Gurkos for this special permit. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend due to the need to be out of state on the evening of the 9th. I would appreciate your conveying to the ZBA my support for the Gurkos' request to be allowed to use the unit in question as a one-bedroom apartment. I base my support as a neighbor due to my belief that we should do all we can to keep downtown area economically viable for the property owners. Having tenants in the area provides support for the remaining business and helps to maintain property values. Your providing relief in this matter will be most appreciated. Sincerely, Robert Clark. Okay, and the floor is yours, Attorney Nofri.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My apologies in advance. I'm fighting the flu, so I can't talk like I normally do, and I don't have a gavel to help along. But I'm here on behalf of Charlie and Louisa, and I don't know if you have this might be helpful, but
Okay.
as far as the historical background, Louisa and Charlie are the owners of the entire 4 units, which consist of the 2 apartment units and a unit previously occupied as a pizza place. That's how Charlie was introduced to the town of Milford over 20 years ago, opening up the pizza place. The history of the lot goes back to its being owned by the Tessassini family, and Mr. Tessassini divided the lot, the previous lot, into 2 lots. He built his home to the right of the present structure and maintained the other structure as is. In 1988, the Julian Trust created the condominium units. That's when Charlie and Louisa were able to buy the unit that they used as the pizza place, then acquired the remaining 3 units of the building. As you can see from the plan, it's a pre-existing non-conforming use and does not meet the lot requirements as far as minimum width, yard requirements as far as setback, front setback, side setback, and rear setback, and open space. It does meet the parking requirements, and I would submit, as evidenced by the report of the planning board, that the use as an apartment will be more consistent and more useful to the owners of the building. And it would qualify as a pre-existing non-conforming use and would not be more substantially detrimental than the existing non-conforming use. We're here to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, board members, Mark, any questions?
First, Mr. Milford, that's number 40, not number 36, correct?
40 is
Right.
Spruce Street, yeah.
It's number 40.
40.
Not 36.
40 Spruce.
Yes, Charlie's Pizza.
Right.
That, I was there today, and it's got 2 egresses, one in the back, one in the front, correct?
Right.
So the normal access the entrance will be the front and or the back. Not a
Right.
problem there. I didn't get to see what's in the back section, but it's gonna be a 1-bedroom,
1 bedroom, right.
and you have 7 parking spaces on the left, I believe. Is that
Right.
correct?
They're delineated on the plan there.
Yeah, I thought I counted 7 when I was there too. You know, without anybody being blocked in.
Right.
I thought I counted 7. That's all the questions I have.
John?
Do you limit the number of cars per apartment, Mr. Giokis?
Yeah.
Do you allow them 2 per apartment?
Well, right now, we have the bottom apartment has no cars. The top apartment has 2 cars. And we put our 2 cars there.
Okay.
So whoever is gonna be on that apartment is gonna be 1 car.
Okay. So you have 7 spaces
I
in the
counted
lot?
7 spaces.
Okay, fine. No, the Giokises keep their properties impeccable, so I have no problems.
David?
I'm all set.
Okay. I agree with what John says. I mean, they run a nice, neat operation, so I have no questions. Okay. I guess the last word is yours.
Well, again, I think with their reputation in the community, supporting the community in various projects, and not having any problems in that location as far as this convenience store. And again, I think of Charlie's had a couple of tenants recently as far as the pizza business, and they haven't been successful with it. That's why he wanted to exercise this option by, creating the apartment unit. So we'd appreciate your favorable consideration.
You gonna do all the work yourself, Charlie?
I help a little bit.
His son helps out, yeah.
Okay, we'll close the meeting and we'll take it under advisement. We will decide at the end of the meeting. We have one more hearing this evening, so you're welcome to stay. Or if not, your attorney will hear what. I hope you feel better.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and listen, don't get too close to me.
I know.
I just got over it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna take that. I'll take that. Okay, let's see. Thank you. Okay, it being after 7:10. The next hearing up is on the application of the Hertz Corporation of 450 William McClellan Highway, East Boston, Mass. For a special permit in relation to property at 178 East Main Street in Milford, owned by First 178 Realty LLC, and located at the northeasterly intersection of Prairie Street and East Main Street in Milford. The special permit relief is sought in order that a portion of the premises may be utilized for motor vehicle rental purposes. The planning board. Oh, wait a minute, the application. The application. Pursuant to what provisions of the zoning bylaw do you seek a special permit and for what purposes? Use regulations, section 2.2 of Article 2, to allow motor vehicle rental use as permitted with a special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Explain the reasons you assert that. The special permit sought is in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning bylaw. Verified proposal with Milford Planning Department prior to submission. The proposed use of the premises will not create undue traffic congestion or impair pedestrian safety. Use does not add burden to existing layout. The proposed use of the premises will not cause harm to the neighborhood or create a nuisance or hazard affecting the health, safety, or general welfare of the public. Retail business does not wash cars, perform preventative maintenance, or tow wrecks. Staff vacuums and cleans interior vehicles only. Planning board. The planning board reviewed the petition listed above at the regularly scheduled meeting of January 7, 2014, and recommends the following: 2 in favor, 2 not in favor. I'm sorry, the applicants, I should have had you come forward. Just have a seat and I'll read the planning board letter. Planning board, dear Mr. Chairman, the applicant requests a ZBA special permit to establish a car rental operation in one of the commercial units on the subject property. The proposed business will occupy one 1,150 square foot unit of a multiple unit commercial plaza. The proposal is to reserve no more than 10 of the existing off-street parking spaces for fleet vehicle use. The proposed use will provide no vehicle washing, maintenance, or towing services on the property. Company staff will perform only interior cleaning and vacuuming of fleet vehicles. Based on prior variances, off-street parking can be adequately provided. Therefore, I recommend a favorable report be forwarded to the Zoning Board of Appeals. A site plan approval from the planning board will be required once the special permit is granted. Respectfully submitted, Larry Duncan. And I just want to read, there's a letter here from, there was a letter here from Richard Aronovitz, 253 Brewer Street, Northborough. Attention David Consigli, Chairman. Ray, 178 East Main Street, Milford. Special permit to allow vehicle rentals. I received your notice sent to abutters regarding the above issue. Please record that I have no objection to the proposed special permit. I believe every property owner should be free to determine the highest and best use for their property. Yours truly, Richard Aronovitz. Okay, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Matthew Benoit. I'm a project manager for the Hertz Corporation. Alongside me is Basilio Almeida. He's the branch manager at our current property, 23 East Main Street, and the property owner for 178 East Main Street and First Realty LLC, Anil Wasan, is also here. The purpose of this application is we're looking to relocate our facility at 23 East Main Street because we have very limited retail office space for our employees at that location. As you may know from that property, there's also very difficult parking for our staff and our tenants with those poles right in the middle of the parking lot. It makes it very difficult for us. So we've been searching for property alternatives for some time, and we believe we found a very good opportunity within a permitted use, of course, pending the special permit that's before you today. Our facility, as you mentioned earlier, Madam Chair, was that we do not wash cars on site. We do not perform preventative maintenance oil changes such as that. This is a retail business. We vacuum cars. We treat our vehicles as if they were our retail product that we sell. So there are no car sales. It is just a rental business, but we're open to any questions that you may have on this application.
Is there anyone here in the audience that cares to be heard on this? Yes, ma'am, would you state your name?
My name is Carol A. Hiller,
I'm sorry, could you spell your last name?
Hiller.
And it was Carolyn?
Carol,
Carol, okay, I'm sorry. And your address?
6 Prairie Street.
Okay. Okay,
Okay, first of all, I've been living there 10 and a half years, diagonally across from this plaza, I'm gonna call it, at 178 East Main Street. And my kitchen faces the plaza, so I certainly am aware, I'm retired, of what goes on there in the businesses. There are 2 restaurants there presently that serve lunch. There is never 10 spots available at that hour, number one, okay? Where are the employees gonna park? We're talking about rental cars, number 10. Enterprise dealership was across the street from them. Their employees have gone across and parked at 178 and were asked to be removed because they ran out of space, okay? Stop me, I've got a lot of questions.
no, you keep going.
All
The
right.
floor's yours.
Okay, so, of course, I'm concerned about the number of vehicles there. And if any of you have been down there to Marty's or there are 6 other establishments there. All of them are busy, pretty much. I mean, there is a church there, so they're probably only there Sunday evenings, Sundays, okay? Okay, so then snow removal is an issue, okay? 2 years ago, and I don't know that it's the present owner, okay? Snow 2 to 3 years ago, and we had that very, very heavy storm. The people at 178 East Main Street may have been putting snow across the street. Well, next to the Enterprise building, there is now a no parking sign because there are sensors there for Prairie Street so that we can get a green light. And vehicles parked there or snow actually interfere with that green light. So because of that, the police department did put a no parking there. Yet there are still people who will park over there, as you know. We all know human nature. As I say, the business and the plazas are utilizing most of the spaces, okay? I told you about the sensors. And what impact will this have on our residential area? Because, right after that, there are residents. We're a very small area of about 22 homes going all the way back. And my area, I already pick up litter from the plaza, from Enterprise. Because of the way the winds move, my yard is constantly picking up debris. And even if they're just detailing these cars with cleaning out, lots of times the fellas do not put the cups, et cetera, that have been in these rental cars in the trash. They sit right there, and before you know it, they become debris for me to pick up. And I am a widow, so I live alone. What is the maximum number of parking spaces for that plaza? That's another thing I ask. Is there some bylaws about that too, okay? So I want you to know that how's the traffic going to flow? If you've been down there, you've seen the area. And are they going to try to go out on East Main Street? I think they're probably going to try to come out Prairie and then go out. Where will overflow park? And I'm talking about overflow of all the people who utilize that little plaza, because we don't have any sidewalks. It's not exactly, a safe area. It's very congested. Anybody who has been in this town knows that. So I just want you to consider that. I am not in favor. If they were just going to have their office there and have their rentals somewhere else, then that would be fine. But to think you're going to have 10 rental cars plus the people who are dropping off the people who need to pick up these rentals, my feeling is I haven't seen over the last 10 years that those kind of spaces are available. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I see there's no one else here to be heard. Let's see, let me see who's going to be sitting on this one. Will be, let's see, we'll have Charlie and Mark will sit on this one, and then the 3 regulars. We'll start on your end of the table.
There's, 5 retail places in here?
Is it 7?
There are 7 units.
7 units.
Which,
And you're
six-
taking the
six
far
are-
right corner unit.
Yes. the end cap.
The off-street parking is where I'm a little fuzzy on. Where is it actually located on the off-street parking?
Our proposal, there's,
Facing your building?
Yes.
Facing dead center of your building?
yes, there's 4 spaces kind of right on the side, and then there's 6 also on that side. We outlined it in the plan, and there's some language on the plan that shows which spots will be allocated to
What
us.
I'm missing.
Yeah, there's a small piece of language in there that shows which ones they are.
You're
But
gonna have 10 cars maximum?
that's the thing, and I'm furthering the response that the neighbor just made. Most of our business, as Basilio and I discussed earlier, it's probably 75 to 80% replacement, and that's insurance replacement. We have deals with 3 body shops that a majority of our business comes from, and a majority of our fleet and cars are at those shops. So the minimum required parking at this site is, being only 4 cars, we're asking for 10 in the event that we may need that extra space for retail cars. I mean, 20% of our business is retail, it's not a lot. So, that's kind of my response to that. Did I answer your question completely? I'm not sure.
Kinda, sorta.
All right.
Kinda, sorta. So basically, you're telling me that
Yes.
at any given time, you only expect to have about 4 vehicles on that lot?
Correct, and that's not including the employee vehicles, and the manager drives one of the Hertz vehicles. He doesn't have a
But there's
personal.
5.
That's correct, and there's 3 employees.
There's 8.
Yeah, well, he has 1 rental, there's 2 personal cars, and then fleet cars.
And that's on the expectation you only have 4 on the lot for
Right.
rental at any given time.
Hertz's standard is to operate at 90% utilization.
Right.
So if you have 100 cars, you should have 10 cars that aren't on the road.
Correct.
And with 80% of our business being for insurance replacement at body shops, you can expect most of those cars that aren't on the road to be at those shops.
Again, the off-street parking, I'm a little fuzzy on. In that particular area regarding a storm, where do they go?
Most of them would be at the body shops that we service.
You'll be moving them prior to a snowstorm?
In most cases, we shall, because it will prepare for the reservations in advance for the next morning.
I'm good.
John?
I think concerning the neighbors' concerns, the plot plan here shows 45 spaces, and we have 7 businesses, you said, in the,
Plus 2 handicap.
plus 2
47.
handicap, 47 altogether.
Correct.
I think a big problem down there in that lot is that people just kind of park anywhere in there, you know? I mean, I don't know what the restriping situation is, if you plan to restripe the lot at all. But from my experience going down there is that people just happen to park anywhere in that lot, you know? And I can't ever remember seeing it full to capacity. Now, your 10 spots would be located primarily in front of your building?
Yes.
No.
It's, yeah, this side,
Outside,
yes.
Away, far towards Route 16.
Well, you have a couple spots over there,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
To where the building ends?
Yes.
So you have, I believe, 2 spots there?
Mhm.
And then the rest of them would be in front of the building?
Correct.
How many cars you presently have down at your spot on the other East Main Street location? Not too many, right?
6?
5?
Oh, you're driving on 5.
Yeah. And we're asking for 10. Okay, that's all the questions I have.
How many cars do you have assigned to that location?
That doesn't necessarily work like that, because we get cars on one-ways from different locations all the time. Right now, our fleet size is about 120. So, with 90% usually 12 being inactive at the time. So half of our cars, despite the 5 and 6 on the lot, are probably at the shops.
So out of that one location, you have 100 cars,
That are on rent, yes.
but they come in and out
Correct.
of the location, right?
Correct. And not on
So
some
it-
contracts longer than others and such,
Yeah.
yes.
But it is conceivable that you could have 25 cars in the lot at one day, if it's possible.
When overflow occurs, we have a distribution center that tracks our overflow, and we'll move those cars to locations in need, especially our distribution center and especially our airports.
Yeah, but it is possible.
It is possible, yes, and during overflow situations, even at our current site, we move those cars into our shops because preparing for reservations the next day and such, but yes.
Okay.
I have some of the same, probably concerns, and the fact that we've had a neighbor come forward, I always like to take into account if there's someone in the neighborhood that has some concerns with it, and we are adding, I think, a substantial amount of cars and traffic to the area, so, let me understand this.
Sure.
You're gonna have spaces for 10 cars. And in addition, you'll need additional spaces for employees to park?
The 10 spaces is all we're asking for.
You're
That's-
asking
as
just for the
total.
10?
That's correct.
But, as the previous speaker just said, it's possible that there might be days that you could have 20 cars.
It doesn't happen often, but on a very.
It does happen.
During natural instances like storms or such, in most cases where people want to return their cars early to avoid a storm or such,
Okay.
but.
Well, like I said, again, I mean, there aren't that many parking spaces in there. I mean, adding in, even on a couple, half a dozen times 20 cars. I just have, I have concerns with, because it's a national chain, the potential is that there could be a lot of cars there. And I have some serious concerns for that.
Just to furthermore that point, I mentioned before that 80% of us is replacement, and the 20% retail is all we'd be operating with at this property. The replacement business takes place at our shops, and a majority of those cars where customers pick up and drop off. So
Okay.
only the retail business is what would happen at this property, for the most part.
All right, but still, I mean, you're throwing out all these numbers here, so those are all like could be, hopefully, maybe, might, I mean, numbers are great.
Oh, it's,
You know,
I completely
you can do
agree.
a lot
It's-
with numbers.
It's an unpredictable business, I
Yeah,
agree. and
exactly,
I agree.
exactly.
But we do have systems of control to handle those situations when they do arise.
Okay. Brian?
Yeah, the question I have about, I kind of go back to what John said. You look at this lot, and right now you're showing 47 spaces. It's not well marked. I mean, when you go down and you see there's one car this way, one car there, is there any proposal on now to organize this so that in fact people know when they're in a spot or covering two spots or trying to organize it so that they wouldn't be overflowing onto the street? Do you have any thoughts about controlling that?
Yes, sir. And this plan shows a different striping pattern than what's there currently. Right now,
Okay.
those spots are right on the property line,
Right.
which is a big problem with the planning board especially. So our proposal shows those moving back, but still creating enough room for a fire truck to get in and out of there. And striping is on the horizon for us, and that's one of the things that Neil and us at Hertz are working to correct. Our spots would be labeled on the pavement, show where the Hertz spaces would be.
That was my second question. Your
Yes, sir.
spot's going to be identified as significantly, that's Hertz property.
Yes, sir. And it's up to either yourselves or the planning board whether we should do stanchion signs or just put it on the pavement, whatever's best for the board.
I have a question for the abutter.
Yes.
As you listen to what's being discussed here, is there anything that you would want to see there that would help your situation?
I don't want to see the overflow cars being parked on Prairie Street. We can
Right.
barely get by now as it is. We try to coexist with businesses. My family's been in that neighborhood for over 60 years, so I've seen a lot of change over the years. And I haven't seen the plan. Because when I see 47 spaces, I say, where do they have 47 spaces? I've lived there over, people cut across their parking lot when they get very angry at the lights, you know that, when they have we're constantly being blocked, I just wanna be sure that this gentleman has a right to his businesses and his location, but they need to be the proper businesses that won't interfere with our quality of life there.
Now, do you see the overflow coming from Enterprise, or you see the overflow, I don't know if you could even would know that, or you see it mostly from the...
Enterprise isn't doing it anymore.
Oh.
Well, we've dealt with that in the neighborhood. I mean, that's why they were parking beside their building, and we couldn't get a green light, because the sensors in the road were being impacted by even there. So the police department have spoken with them, they've readdressed their lines to, and they haven't been doing it. And I don't know where their employees go anymore, but I know they were asked to leave. The employees were parked going across the street at 178 and parking their vehicles, because Enterprise has limited parking as well, as most of you probably know, being on the zoning board.
So you're saying Enterprise is not in business there anymore?
Oh, they sure are, but they're behaving themselves.
It's,
Good,
Madam
okay.
Chair, may I interject? You know, I bought this property 2.5 years ago. The first issue was that Enterprise was parking all their cars on my parking lot. I got the whole parking lot, I got it, sealed and striped and designated the, handicap with the van accessibility. I spent a lot of money in doing up this. It was not in a good condition. And in the past 2.5 years, there have been about 10 or 12 times when I've had to walk across to Enterprise and said that please remove your car from here, because Marty's Kitchen tells me all the time that they park. And the last instance I had was just about 3 weeks ago, and they told me there's no question, none of our cars are parked there. And I turned out that there are new employee they had employed just 1 week ago, her car was parked there. So I said this is happening all the time. So I personally have not seen that parking lot full at all. Because of the operating pattern it is in right now, Marty's Kitchen is from 6 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock, and Mondays it's off.
1:30, sir.
Well, they don't get anybody, they shut the door and they are inside probably. The Thai pepper starts at 11 o'clock and carries on till 10. The church there is only on 2 days or 3 days a week, and that too at evening hours or Sunday morning. So there's no traffic there. The next is a hair salon, which is only by appointment. It's a high class, it's called Donna Day, and they only get employees by, there's no walk-ins. After that is Miracle Air, which is also only by appointment. So you don't get any traffic there. I've been in and out maybe like 100, 150 or 200 times in the last 2.5 years. I've never had an issue of any parking space there. Recently, a barber shop has come in there. He has brought in some traffic now because he's getting more people in. But we've got 47 places. One of the reasons they were less earlier was that there were some shrubbery at the side of the building. I got all that removed. I got the pavement done on the parking lot. I've improved the lot, taken it right back, and it's increased the area. On the snow plowing part, I have a gentleman in Prairie Street who does the snow plowing in that area, and he does it very nicely. Even if you go right now, there's no interference. He does it very nicely in the corner there, where the sign pole is, and then at the back of the building. So there's no interference on the parking also. So I feel it's something which can be addressed with the permission.
Anyone else? Yes, Mark?
Question. You said the parking lot's never full, right?
I've never observed it as it was because I've gone at all odd times.
Yeah, there's 40
Because of the operating pattern.
I understand that. There's 47 spaces, you just say 35 is the max you've seen?
I don't think more than 20 I've seen.
More than 20, so adding 10.
Enterprise has been coming and putting their cars many times.
I can understand that, believe me. I've been down there many times.
Lunch time of Thai pepper sometimes tends to get heavy.
Well, that's the question. So if you got 35 cars that you think is the max at the heaviest time, and then you're adding 10 more, you're up to 45, you only got a maximum of 47, get a little congested, correct? It's-
I counted yesterday, they only had 7 open spaces at 1 o'clock.
So 40 spaces, you're saying, well.
Yeah,
kill it.
I purposely counted yesterday.
And I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that some of those spaces, I'm sure, were doubled with people with brand-new cars, don't like to park close, blah, blah, blah. I know that routine. I guess on the off-street parking part of it, which you spoke of, which would be Prairie Street, the off-street parking part? The off-street parking would be where?
would be at one of our 3 shops
No, no,
that
I'm
we have
talking-
contracts with.
Your off-street's gonna be one of your 3 shops. So all 10 spaces are gonna be allocated in the parking lot,
Correct.
in the parking lot, designated for Hertz only. There'll be
correct.
nothing on the side street, Prairie Street,
No.
as the concerns are by the abutter. None of these rental cars will be on Prairie Street.
No.
Okay, that's,
One more question. Have you ever thought of putting a barrier, a small barrier along Prairie Street to prevent anybody from, say, Enterprise? That'll make it all real tough for them to try to go over to the lot. It's so easy now to pull into your lot from any direction. Do you ever think of trying to put some small barrier there to prevent people from using your property?
No, sir, the only people who will use it would be enterprise, and I thought, dealing with them would be such an easy thing. And they're very helpful, I mean, if somebody comes and parks who's going to rent a car from, there's been occasions like that, so that's the reason.
Who drew the layout of the 47 spaces? Did you guys have a traffic engineer do that?
I gave it to an architect to do it, this is the original drawings. There's a company recommended by the town itself, these are the years ago, so they did the whole thing. This is done like last month, I think. I mean, we made a new plans.
And this is presently striped this way?
No, it's
There
not.
is, no, it is striped like 90% this way, but we have done a little bit of adjustment here, and we've given a lot of space on the 36th side, so that there's no issues there. And we are closing this gap. There is an entrance here, there's an entrance here, and then there's an entrance here. So it's become a much better, but these are all striped. All this is striped right now. This is also striped.
Well, that's what I'm
But it's-
saying, the way the plan shows,
Yes,
it's
it is-
presently striped that way.
It's striped that way, but it's a little behind right now. So I will do the restriping of this.
The complete lot will be restriped.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And for these, for them, we have designated 44, 45, and I think I mentioned that. Matt, you would like to?
Yes, sir.
And there are 6 here and 4 here.
Where are the handicap spots?
There's one here, there's one here, there are 2 here actually. There's one here also, but I brought it down to this.
Okay, so you have 3 handicap on the lot?
Right now, there are 2, and when I spoke to to Larry Duncan.
Yes.
He says it's better to do it here, do this.
But you're still only gonna have 2
We gonna have
handicap?
2 handicap.
All right.
With the variances.
And as this lady said here, she said she counted 40. She said she counted 40 on the lot yesterday. 40 spaces were full?
There were 7 vacant, no more than 7.
Okay.
Okay, yesterday.
Okay, yesterday, so that's not counting the cars that Hertz wants to put in.
That's with 41 spaces right now in this kind of a layout. So now we have 47. This
Yeah,
is
but
all-
what I'm saying is this woman here said that there were just 7 free spaces yesterday.
This is,
7 from the existing 41 parking spots.
this is your lot line right here for the property, correct? Looking at the plan, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's the lot line right there. So,
Yes,
and this would be the town-owned property, I guess sidewalk?
Correct, and the road is.
Road is here, and this would be,
There's a sidewalk here.
there's a sidewalk here.
That's right, sir.
Okay, so, my problem is when I look at whoever laid out the parking, you really can't turn in here, because here's the sidewalk, there's no turning radius to come out of here.
No, we have got the 24 feet as well.
No, I'm talking about coming around, I guess coming around that
No,
way, I guess.
there's an entrance here.
Yeah.
This is a very big entrance here.
So if there's 2 cars parked here, you really can't use
No,
those 2
this is a
spaces.
bumper to bumper, this is the inventory parking. This is a Hertz requirement. They don't need, it's a bumper to
Yeah,
bumper.
but what if a customer pulls in and parks in one of those
No, you
spaces?
can't, these are designated for.
The customer obviously fits with that, but they
Yeah.
would be asked to move once they.
2 and 4, 6 here, 2 here and 2 here. These are for Hertz inventory parking.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Can I
Good.
address-
Yes, ma'am.
Marty's supply truck comes to the front, and it's a Cisco, it's one of the big, I don't know how many, okay, wheelers, okay? But I'm still dealing, for 10 years I dealt with Ty Pepper's supply trucks. They come up into my driveway and then back to supply them, okay? So as I deal with each of these companies, they're parking alongside now to do the deliveries. I don't know how this will work out, but just so that people are aware of it. The 2 restaurants have a lot of suppliers coming in, and these are not small trucks that are delivering to them.
And did they deliver, they come in the parking lot, or are they around back?
With Thai Pepper only, because Marty's already told me that none of his trucks do, and they don't. It's a big one that's out front, okay? So it comes into the parking lot. And then Thai Pepper, there's that little narrow spot in the back. But many of the drivers are lazy, and they choose my driveway to come up into, to back there, which is not right. And I am dealing with that.
Ma'am, I'll attend to that, absolutely, no issue. I'll ensure that is it.
Well, I've been calling the police and dealing with it for 10 years. We're
I-
getting
I
better every
speak-
year. Thank you. I'm sorry, no
That,
more.
that should not never happen.
Okay, anyone else on the board have anything else to say? Okay, the last word is yours before we close the hearing.
Thanks,
and
Madam
take it under
Chair.
advisement.
Thank you. If the board seems to be receiving this with mixed reviews, if there's any changes that you'd like us to propose, maybe reduce the amount of spaces that we're asking for, because we asked for 10 because in case, as you mentioned, sir, that we do get that overflow that we're not expecting. Since our retail business is a minor part of our existing market, we'd be open to reducing our request out of the 10 to perhaps 8 or even less to one of the board. But if you'd like us to make those changes you'd like to see that in writing first, be inclined to ask for a continuance if in fact you would like us to make those changes.
Madam Chairman, did you say earlier that you have no objection to stanchion signage?
No, none at all. None.
Because I feel that any labeling on the ground for lots
Yes.
or spaces doesn't work.
Get lost
you know
in
what I mean?
New England especially. Yes.
But you don't have a problem with that?
Not at all.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else have any?
Just one last thing.
Go ahead, Mark.
If you don't mind. The 10 spaces allocated, once again, back to that, 3 will be for employees.
Sure.
So you're looking at 7 cars,
Hmm?
correct?
Yes.
And that's it.
Yes.
Anything else would have to go somewhere else, period.
That's correct.
If there's additional cars,
Hmm?
like say you have 12 or an overflow, you get now 12 cars.
Correct.
And you're just gonna park them there for several hours.
Hmm.
That's gonna create a problem.
Understood.
How are you gonna solve that problem?
Our staff would ensure that the cars are brought to one of our 3 shops that we have contract with. It's part of how the gears move. And most times you're not taking reservations on a regular basis. You're not seeing them out at all times. So you do have time to move the vehicles and make
We
accommodations.
both know somewhere along the line this will happen.
It's very possible. I'm not going
Will
to deny
happen.
that at all. But our crew, honoring your request, if you so put it, we'd be adamant to make sure that happens and that the cars are moved.
Thank you.
Okay, any other? Okay, and like I said, the last word is yours, and
Oh, yes, Madam Chair, thank you again. And I appreciate the comments from the neighbor, and I think they're all very valid concerns. And Hertz as a company, we're definitely open to helping the community. We want to make sure that everyone's happy with our proposal. And if there is perhaps a negative feel for the company, it might be a misconception at some points. But we're willing to do what it takes to move the cars, as you said, sir, if we have to. If it's a condition you want to put into an approval, perhaps, or regulate how you'd like us to move these cars, we'd be more than happy to do so. Getting out of our current property is a priority. The retail office space is desk on top of desks, and
What is the least amount you can deal with?
least amount of cars?
Least amount of spaces?
No, you got the 3 employees plus, and one of them doesn't even have a car right now. But
Well, I don't have a car, and actually Nilsa, she
Right.
works in Milford, no kidding. She lives in Milford, so she usually gets dropped off, so that's actually minus one other car.
let's say minimums could potentially be 6, 7. Be looking at
7
that.
total spaces to include your employees.
Yes.
Okay. And this is on the assumption that you won't, all of a sudden, we won't get a call from Liquor World that you're parking over there.
Correct.
Thank you.
all right. We'll close the meeting, we'll take it under advisement. We're gonna hear them at the end, so you're welcome to stay and
Certainly.
see what the vote is. Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll hear the first, one was the 36 Spruce Street. That's for Kirkos. What is the pleasure? Oh, and sitting on this one is, let's see, myself, David, John, Brian, and Mark. Comments?
I'm all set.
This is for the apartment
I'm
of
good
School
with it.
Street Market. You're good, John?
No problem.
Okay. Okay, I'm fine with it too. Just as it's presented? Fine, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed, none, it's unanimous. Okay, you're all set.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, I'll take care of that Okay, the next one is the one for Hertz, Hertz Rental. I can say I do have some serious concerns about the parking and the number of cars, and also I'm listening to the neighbor, and that carries a lot of weight with me.
Yeah, I'm definitely against it. I'm voting no. I mean, the guy from Hertz here was very honest. You know, these locations, they're responsible for, you know, pick a number, 80, 50, 60 cars out of location. It's not a good place to run a rental car location. It's tight in there. I didn't hear anything about where they're gonna put the snow. The other thing too is it says in their application that their employees come out and vacuum out and clean the cars. Well, with the parking being so tight, you know, the employees are gonna be out with the cars open, hanging out of the cars. Someone's gonna pull in, they're gonna hit the cars. They're gonna be hanging out of the thing, you know, vacuuming the cars out. It's, I don't think it's a good location, for a business like that. That's how I feel.
John?
I don't have a problem with this. I mean, I think as a condition, there certainly should be stanchion signage. The restriping of the lot, I mean, I've lived here all my life, and I can tell you right now, I've never seen 40 cars in that lot. Never. Never even close. The businesses in there all run on staggered times. The restaurant, one closes midday, the other one opens almost at midday. It's not the new people coming in who are responsible for this. They're making a request to rent a space that actually is the owner's responsibility. That's why I was stressing that all restriping should be done in the lot. And their present location at East Main Street is maybe a third of the size what they're asking for. They keep the lot nice. There's never an overflow of cars in that lot. So my only condition would be that the 10 spots all be marked with stanchion signage.
Mark?
Well, obviously, there's a lot of concerns about the parking, and I think at this particular stage, since it seems to be divided, I agree with what Mr. Pine said regarding where's the snow gonna go. That's an issue in any parking lot. I also agree with what John's saying. He lives in that area. He knows it probably better than most of us. I would like to see it reduced from 10 to maybe 6. And if there's absolutely no issues down the road, come forth again, maybe expand it out to maybe 8 or 10. Washing the cars, not washing, detailing them, cleaning them out could be an issue. And that's gonna have to be addressed. I think there should be absolute standing signs. These are for this purpose. Now, the other thing may be where you're cleaning these cars with these doors winged open. Maybe that should be allocated for 2 spots for that one place and marked accordingly. That's where I sit with this. I mean, any other business that decides to go in there is probably gonna use more than 5 or 6 spaces anyway. So these will be allocated spaces and not just random of people coming in there. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, my feelings, this is a tough one. You know, because you got a good business, you got a good proprietor, and you've also have a neighbor. My past experience has told me that obviously when you put conditions and everybody comes here who are looking for the proposal in good faith, that they're gonna be able to control what goes on, they're gonna have to, that they will do things, but when you start talking about cleaning cars, and, you know, debris could flow. To me, it just seems like we're trying to squeeze in something in an area which does not seem acceptable for that kind of a business. And so I am not in favor of it.
And I'm not in favor, and I'm not in favor. So the vote is, you're in favor, Mark?
Sort of still
Well, okay, let's take a vote now. Okay, unless anyone has any other comments or any more things to say? Okay, your vote?
I'm against.
Okay, I'm a no vote.
I'm opposed. I'm against.
Favor.
Favor.
Okay, so it's a
3 to 2.
3 to 2. Okay, very good. The meeting's closed for this evening. Thank you very much.